I mean, it's fucking we're within 6 points of all-time highs again, Casey. Like, that's what I was talking about this morning right before we started pre-market even, of you can't really start looking at the swings now. We've already had a big part of the move that you would look to make that money on, and that's the part in the psychological part of swing trade I think a lot of people struggle with is, "Yeah, I don't trust the market, playing it a little too tight." Not letting your runners run, all the things we've talked about lately, because I have been very cautious in this market as well. But on the flip side of that, by the time you don't feel that's the psychological mind fuck of trading, by the time you don't feel nervous about the market, it's too late and you're FOMO chasing in. Yeah. There we go. I mean, is there gonna be a doomsday? We've already I mean, Trump was dropping, I'm gonna nuke and kill all of them. A week ago, and the market went, "Yawn." I mean, what's the doomsday at this point? How desensitized are we as a whole? The biggest moves with this war have been upside. Exactly, and that's every fucking war. We told you that from the beginning. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can't name how many I was apprehensive as well. I was like, "We're taking very small positions. It's first buys," but I still and I think that's just the matter of being around the market long enough. You still have the acuity to know, like, this is where you buy, and having that faith in knowing the wars are technically usually bullish and given enough time on the contracts where but the biggest moving days since the war happened have been upside moves. We've had 2 3% gap up days within this. um the threat of blowing Iran off the map, the market minimally reacted. The straight shut down, market minimally reacted. The market makers and big money knows a couple things. First of all, they know Trump's all talk. He is. He's all talk, and he's kind of a troll. Not kind of. He is a troll. He likes trolling. So, like, I was talking about this the other day. Let me flip this to a full chart instead of the four. All right. Just to give you a perspective of how over it the reaction to Trump is on the market. This right here was due to fucking tariff tweets, guys. Tariff tweets, not a war. Tariff tweets. Okay? And then if we go to right now, this is how we react to war. Much more subdued, and then to push right back up. I mean, this was fucking tariff tweets, guys. Yep. Nope. Yep. Yeah. And listen, guys, don't get me wrong. Like, we have it a shit sandwich of an economy, of everything. So it makes it feel like doom and gloom. But even like I said at the beginning of the year, a 10% pullback is a reset. It's not a bear market until after that 10%. We pulled back 65 points, exactly 10% on the SPY. We pulled back 65 points. And before that 65 points, we consolidated for 1128. I mean, 4 months. And even technically, you could go all the way back to like 6 months of consolidation within a 5 point range. So for 5 months, 6 months, we sat in a 5% range. And for 90 days of it, we sat in like a 3% range, just super, super tightened in like a 3-4% range, just nothing moving, nothing. So the people that say we have to come back, we ripped too hard on the market, yada, yada, from everything over the last couple years, consolidation is market reset. It cools the RSI, it cools the algos, it cools everything that triggers mass buying and selling. This pretty much chop and then the 10% pullback, all this right here over the last 6-7 months, this was the market reset overall. This is enough of a reset to send a whole new bull drive going if it wanted to. I'm not saying that'll happen. I was very apprehensive. I was bearish for quite a while. We were playing downside trades. I wasn't alerting shit in here. Little things overnight here and there, but there was like a 3-week period where I think I alerted 3 swings. And then towards the bottom here, like Microsoft, I alerted the day before the sell. This day, we went down like 20% before it ripped. But the timing of these, Netflix was different because it was ripping even in the bear market. There was a couple that were a little different. But once you start seeing me, even when I say like, oh, it's excruciating putting this out because the market has been very sketch. If we look at the SPY and really back up and look at it, especially like before this 3% gap up day, this is fucking bullish as shit. It's begging to break out. We have that resistance, and look at how the candles work. We have a resistance. It pulled all the way back, gap down, closed above the day before close. And then we have 2 more days push in the top where it's a constricted body candle up towards the top, no true resistance. And then the next day we got the resistance and pushed through, and we end up with we went from inverted hammer candle to the pullback push through into a regular hammer. And that is a bullish setup for next leg up. And then we got that gap up, and we talked again about you must stay bullish as long as we hold the low of this day. And we did. KT and I reiterated that like 5 or 6 times last week and said we are bullish. We don't close our swings. We don't act until we lose this. So at that point, like, yes, I felt it's not like I was just like, oh, let me flip my fingers, I'm a bull. I was apprehensive. Absolutely. And some of the swings I was alerting, but I was alerting them because I had to follow the technical of the stocks. And technically speaking, it was screaming for a breakout. Like at that point, you can't not do it. You have to. And then what I worry about and what I was talking about this morning before the stream started is a lot of newer traders or traders that are struggle a little bit with swing trading or just emotions in the market are like ready to jump in now. It's too late. Gotta wait for consolidation now. The SPY has moved 60 fucking points in 11 trading days. That's when you're gonna buy into the swings. You know, like, and you panic sold maybe Microsoft to 20% down on contracts that don't expire till June, the first day, and then it rips ever since, or not holding runners, whatever, this or that. And I'm talking about larger accounts with that. We've talked about that. You understand the difference. All you listening understand the difference between runners, what percent of my trades are runners, so on and so forth. So at that point, and then I had posted charts on Amazon, Nvidia, Microsoft, Google, Palantir, Netflix, all of those have been posted in analyst floor in the last 2 weeks as well. None with bearish setups, all bullish setups. Like at that point, and I was very honest on the stream. It's not like I was on the stream like, load the boat, we're buying everything, I'm a fucking bull. It was, I'm holding this. I'm not cutting it. I'm setting stops at break even. I'm in runners only, but I'm letting them run. So like I don't know. So it's definitely not like, oh, I called the bottom. I said it was bull market, but no, I shook the nerves off of like, I don't know if I trust it or not, but this is where we would buy, and we fucking bought it. We bought him take the shit out of Microsoft, So it's hard, and that's with me being around here long enough to know how it works. And I was still very apprehensive. I probably did trim sub stuff way too quickly, so on and so forth. So by no means is it some sort of pat on the back. We got wrecked on Apple. We got lost Tesla. There was 2 losing traits in there. So I just want you guys to know, I'm by no means saying like, oh, like we fucking predict this, that, the other. No, but we did tell you, I didn't say it was guaranteed to go up for 2 weeks straight. I did give you the exact levels that confirm it's still in the uptrend. And that's the most important part is, not selling and buying on that emotion. So what stock particular are you talking about? Yeah, SoFi, I told you 2 weeks ago I wouldn't be adding here. I can remember telling you I would not add here on SoFi. I'm not touching it. Okay. I'm not even talking. SoFi hit stop. SoFi was not even one of the trades. So like that makes sense because I think we're talking about too much different things. So like Microsoft, so like the Microsoft trade in general was alerted one day of sell off and then it pushed. I'm not talking about like trades we held for a month before pushing. This was a day. Like so if I pull back up the Microsoft trade, I alerted it here. This day, we had 1 day of pullback and then it ripped. Whereas SoFi, and this is where it's with the difference of breaking trend or not. The last time SoFi was alerted was back in here, and we lost the trend. And I think I had given a stop on the trade. Maybe I don't remember, but it pulled back. Okay. Like this is a 50% pullback from these lows here. More. This is $23 down to $14. So we had, I alerted SoFi this probably 6-8 weeks ago before that short report, and then maybe 4 weeks ago, and then said SoFi's lost. We got wrecked. It is what it is. So, I think you need to move on from SoFi for a little bit. I know we believe in the company, this and that, but like the last few times you've brought up SoFi, I've said it's not a buy right now. So, yeah. So I just looked at what my average was on SoFi. Let me do some math. Hold on. I'm trying to see my last buy. Holding it through everything till right now, you'd still be down 35% on January contracts. So it's either you cut it at a reasonable stop loss or you add at the bottom, but you can't cut at the bottom. That's like we talked about with Apple. All right. If I put on the Apple chart, and I think this is where people struggle. This was that short. The Apple had that bearish news right here. I alerted Apple. Okay. We alerted Apple right here this day. All right. Let me delete everything so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So Apple was alerted this day somewhere in here. Okay, we were green at close. I think it was up 15, 20%. We got wrecked. So the next day at open, which is the 7th, and I talked about this a few times over the last couple weeks. So if I go back to the 7th here, because we opened up, I think, like 5% down or even maybe a little green on Apple. And Apple was very green at market close. I think we're at 15, 20% something. I did not take a trim, but Apple was, so it must have been alerted down in here because we were green at market open overall. All right. So the next day we get hit with this short. I might have even alerted the day before and it was another day. I can't remember exactly. But on a trade like this, say we bought it right here. Or even, I'll even say like, yeah, right here somewhere. Let's just say in this box. I'll even pull it up some and down some just in case we're off. And then we open up here and this news drops. Okay. You sell it. If you sell it here, right when we start to like sell off and we lose like yesterday's low a day. So let's say right here, by the time you notice, oh, we lost low a day from yesterday, it's selling da. Okay. That's fine. You sell it here, you lost, say, 20% on the trade, 15% on the trade, you're out. Or when it finally bounces and say you missed the whole sell-off and then you notice like, oh shit, I think we were down 55% on that trade, 45%, something like that. And right in here, you add to it as it catches some support and then you notice it and say we break above this like pivot point, this low here pivot or this low. And you add here because it's starting to push back up. All right. Or you sell at fucking break even the next day because by the grace of God, we got bailed out of that trade. Cool. But the only place you shouldn't sell it is at the bottom. What sense does it make selling it at the absolute worst time? Now, if you fuck up on a trade and you miss your stop loss or you miss your sell, or whatever it might be. And then all of a sudden you're like down 50% on a trade. Your first reaction should not be, I gotta sell. I'm 50% down on the trade. It should be, okay, what's happening right now in the moment? What's happening right now in the moment? And if we're looking at what's happening right now in the moment, we could see, and if you notice the trade down in here, you should be like, okay, if we lose these lows here, I'll sell. All right. So if we put it on the daily and identify, we can see we were right at a major pivot right here. And if you say, okay, if we lose these lows, then I'll sell it. That's where I would sell it because we're down at a triple bottom. Now, that doesn't mean you played the trade correct, because playing the trade correct means we should have been out way up here. I was live trading that day, so I missed updates. That's on me. That's fine. All right. We should have sold tactically way up here. But if you're like kind of live trading, not paying attention because it's a swing, this, that, and you look and you're like, even if you look way up here, and you're like 40% down and you're panicking. You're like, okay, what's our major support level here? Okay, we've got this triple bottom at 245.60. We're already at 246, 246.50 within $1 of that range. If we lose that, I'll be out. Because at that point, it's what's the difference between 50% down and 60% down when you've already missed a sell point? That's where it's not a matter of a winning trade or a losing trade. It's a matter of what's the worst possible thing you can do in that situation. And the worst possible thing you could do in that situation was sell at the fucking bottom out of panic. All right. If you sell anywhere in this area here, makes sense. Say by right here, we're down 35%. That's a reasonable stop loss on that trade. So even if I open it up and I say anywhere in here you sold, you're within 30% down. That's good. All right. But then you're getting into this like oversold crazy chaos where it's all panic selling. All right. But then what, and I want to commend her, what Ash did. I don't even know if she's listening today. She added at the bottom because she identified we're at this triple bottom here, right here, and we were at that area bouncing, and she added, that's the move when you get that confirmation of the bounce. Because then you slide that, like, you say you're taking a confirmation ad, you set your stop loss right there. So you're risking what? Say an extra $100 in order to be able to be back at break even on a double down. You're break even here. Whereas everybody who didn't do an ad, even though it was a great place to do an ad, are back at break even way up here. And then the panic position is I sold at the worst possible time. And it's not about the trade being right or wrong. Either way, we were wrecked on the trade because that report came out. It got smoked. That's not what it's about. It's about how are you going to salvage the most dollars possible on this at that point? And you miss all this sell opportunity here. And then you get down into this zone here. This is like, are you just panic selling zone? What's going on? Where's the levels you want to identify? So on and so forth. So if we flip back to SoFi on this and we put on the daily, all right. And let me look what day I alerted SoFi. We'll like really let's dig into this because everybody needs to learn. No, it's a good thing though. Like, it's important because, like, knowing when to sell and buy in a opportune way is critical. Yeah, but like it's because you shouldn't have held that deep. I think that's the thing is yes, it does. I'm trying to see here where shares and start. Okay, it was on 3-3. Yeah, exactly. And we fell in love, like, and that's where we get a little emotional, kind of fall in love with the stock a little bit. So we bought, it was right here. This was the day, right pretty much at the top. Okay. So right here. So and then the short report hit here. Okay. So before that, okay, and in the time, and it's January, yeah. So in this area here, we were like teetering on that edge of down like 25%, but we have 6 months. It's really kind of holding this line here, this low. So like in here, I can justify holding it. Okay. That makes sense. But then it turns into this gap down. Oh, we're wrecked here. Okay. So at that point, kind of like Apple, we want to look around. We gap down, we open. Okay. And this was like a 4% sell off. We had 2 days at. So if we look at the chart and we really look, so this is where it comes to play, like, what's our next actual area of support? Way down here. Like, this was a liquidity zone too last time we popped through it. I don't care about this. This is all chop, whatever. But like last time we went through this area, we realistically, when we finally broke this level, we kind of ripped through it. So, and I didn't even know where it bounced. I wasn't even looking over there when I identified that level. That right here would be the reasonable place we would expect to probably bounce. And we were way up here at 1629. Okay. So we don't have support to 1430 or 1450. That's too much. 16. So with that day it opened, we're at 16.30 and the level's at 14.50. That's $1.80. That's like 11%. That's too much. You know what I mean? But if you're still in by the time we're down at like 15, if you held it and you're panicking, you don't know what you want to do, this, that, the other, and we're floating down in the sub 1550 level in here, and you look and you're like, okay, this is how close we are to where we should bounce. And you're already down, say, 40%, and you have 6 months on the contracts. That's where it's like, if I don't sell here and I'm not really honest with how shitty the trade is till like right here, then I'm probably holding. Because then it's like a micro risk reward. Like, okay, I already held this much when I should have sold, but I'm not going to hold this much. You know what I mean? Like, it comes down to the math of it. Either way, you're in a shit spot. You fucked up the trade. You fumbled the ball. I alerted it. I fumbled the ball, not you. Then it comes down to, yeah, I know. I'm just trying to explain to you how I personally look at situations like this. It's not about the trade, because we were fucked on the trade. Because even right here, we're still down 35% because it got so deeply wrecked. But yeah. So this right here, when we're that close to it, I go, okay, we're trying to build a base for a couple days here. We have this push up, but then what happens, and this is like always the darkest before the dawn, you get this little pop up here, and then we get this shitty day where we open up here and we got that wick down and you panic and you sell. Because it's like it's the final fuck you knife turn before it actually does start to push. And what I see as a liquidity clear out, because it cleared that liquidity and ripped, and we're bouncing off of this range pretty much right here, which was the last place we actually consolidated. And we did consolidate here. This was a major kind of flip zone, like right here. Like we're kind of in this box of where we should bounce. Just these two lows, this candle here and then the candle here. Yeah. So that for me, yeah. Like I wouldn't have added here because we weren't in that level, but I would have said, okay, if we lose 1480, 1450, whatever it is, I'm out. That at that point, if I'm already down that deep, and if we pop a fibs on it too, and this is the part that's going to burn. Yep. This golden fib, this pocket, this is, I can't draw it on, let me put it on my, yeah, I'm going to put it on this one just because. Yeah. So at that point, it does become like where it makes sense to add, not cut. Let me make sure I'm on the right. Okay. Yeah. So as you can see, that's tough. Because for me, if I'm still in the trade here, I'm automatically, if I'm already beat up and I'm already 40% down on the fucking trade, but I have 6 months on the trade, I'm not buying, but I'm holding because we can see over here the area where we would definitely want to cut it. And this stuff's important. Don't think you're like holding everybody up from making money. If they can't handle an hour of education, oh well. So, in here, that's like, yeah. And then it's tough because now we're past that 0.5. 1430, I got the 618. I probably didn't draw it perfect, but pretty close. Yeah. And then we also have point of control for like a heavy point of control area, right? It just switched on me. Hold on. Right there. So yeah, that was kind of, but honestly, and I said this, I did not like SoFi anymore down here. Like I was telling you, I would not add, you know what I mean? But it's definitely the area where you would open a position. It's tough because if you, yeah, everything was all fucked up. Everything was all fucked up. I'm guessing you're still net positive overall on SoFi in history. So, yeah. 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 I get it. Yep. I get it. I do. I get it. 100%. Yeah, but in that trade, like you had spent quite a while in that same song and dance. So I also get it. Like I got to set a hard stop because you can also become that self-realizing prophecy of, well, I lost to point 0.5. That was going to be my stop, or whatever the fuck it might be. Cause I think that's what caused me to alert the trade in the first place that we got kind of wrecked on. Or we lost this pivot point here. Hold on, let me bring my chart back over. We lost this right here, and then we bounced off the point 0.5, but then we lost it. Like I get it. I understand the process behind it. I really truly do. Cuz now I like it, but I'm not going to buy it again because like I've been on a cold streak on SoFi the last, but for people looking for ads on SoFi, so on and so forth, it does look good here. Like it doesn't look terrible, but then again, I don't know. I want to get through an earnings cycle on SoFi following apprehension. Yeah, I get it. And I'll chop this up and make it a little video too about when to cut a trade because I think that was a good question. Yeah. Yeah. Ripped. I mean, this is just what was the date? Right here somewhere. Oh yeah, yeah. I think I alerted this here. I think this was a loss a couple months ago, maybe. Or maybe I didn't. I recognize it though. I do recognize it. Maybe. Yeah, I don't remember because I think maybe I was already DOA on that one. I think I was alerting it up in here. Um, yeah. So this is really just a matter of, yeah. This one's tough. This is tough because you've got like it's almost like right here. I like for me. The shoulders. Yeah, that's the day you said. Yep. So for me, like this level here, I'd be out at the loss of this level here. Yeah, then I mean it makes sense because you can't hold it through here, but this to me is more of like keep an eye on it still because even here it gapped up and you can't chase in here and then it consolidates. So even if you bought in a day like this here, by the time we get through this consolidation and we're at the 30th, you're wrecked anyway because you have 15 days of consolidation. So, really, the only entry I even kind of like on this that is a decent entry is if you took the back test here on the bounce or you took the pullback candle, which not even is not even likely in here somewhere. Because, like, yeah, I think this is a great stop loss because this, there's no like good entry. I mean, it chopped for so long that if the contract, let's say back here you bought, let's say June. Yeah, but look at how much. I bet it was still red here. I'll bet you this contract was still red way over here. And it took this kind of an absolute cataclysmic breakout in order to get you in high profitability. That's my guess. Yeah, that was a good cut. That one I think was a good cut because like it really took so long to do anything and you cut it quick. It's not like SoFi where you kind of like just bled yourself out. You were just out. That's my stop. I'm good. Whatever. Yeah, I mean, I get the trade though. I understand this trade. It looks like it did want to break. It had like that final springboard. This is almost the perfect fucking um wick off here with the springboard down here. But yeah, so this trade, there's really no great entries unless it was like perfectly at this candle here. Because even if you waited, you wouldn't take it on that kind of a red day here. There's no way. Or taking it like on the break of this candle. That's like the only place you even could have taken this. And the rest is just a casualty of the market being hot. Like this really doesn't have anything too great for me unless you took it like off the 200 way down here, shit like that, because it chopped too long here and there. Like that's 60 days of chop almost. So yeah, no, I like that you cut that. Yep. I like that you cut that. That's not a good hold. Like with Apple holding it, okay. Yeah, because like Apple and what we talked about, that was like one day. That wasn't like, and even the SoFi, we had that pullback was like a week total. It wasn't like 2 months of chop. That's where it gets tough unless you're in your first buy, wait for the pullback and kind of add to average down. It's tough to, really think that's okay, hold. So no, I think that was actually a good cut. 100%. You're absolutely. I appreciate it because then it helps me with direction of what to kind of talk about as well. So I mean, it's not like there's anything I'd be taking right now anyway. It's just kind of melting. So, all right, I'm gonna end this on WAP.